Fancy. Very nice, sir. All right, so check this theory out, guys. I feel that if you bring your mother to a restaurant on Mother's Day, you're an asshole. And here's why. Our mothers are kind of getting along age-wise. So you, as a genius, say to yourself, okay, I'm not going to take my mother out to the restaurant late when it's noisy and chaotic. I'm going to take her early, because I'm smart. But genius, every other douchebag thought of the same thing. That's why when our doors open, the moment they open, we get flooded. A flood of dysfunctional families and a fucking viejita who can barely walk by herself, and the high frequency of your kids yelling at the top of their lungs. But let's move forward, right? So you sit down. The experience begins. We've all been doing this for a while. So when I see a table in that situation, I'm reading between the lines. I'm sort of picking up different frequencies and energy from people. And for some reason, in my experience, I've seen that the only person that's truly enjoying themselves is mom. And some people might be like, yo, that's the point, though. But no, you're misunderstanding this. Mom is happy that she's with you, that she's with her family. She's not necessarily happy that she's in the restaurant, which is ironic because I'll scan the rest of the table and look at the mastermind behind all of this shit. And I'll see in your face that you're not having a good time. You're on your phone more often than not. Your body language is displaying your discomfort. You're stressed out. But you don't have to do this to yourself. And you certainly don't have to do it to us. If you have all this money to take your mother and your whole family out to an extravagant dinner, then spend that money on an experience. Buy your mother something extravagant, or send her on vacation somewhere. Go with her. Or send your parents on vacation. Or send your mother on vacation with her boyfriend or your stepdad. And if she's single, fuck it. Send her anyway. Send her to fucking Jamaica. Let her get her groove back, Mom gotta have fun too. And on the other side, I don't have a lot of money. Well, fine. Here's a revolutionary idea. Stay the fuck home. Don't go to a restaurant you can't afford. Stretch. Feel uncomfortable. Yo, you go to Boston Market, $200. You could buy food for 15 fucking people. Take it home, make it cute, put it in dishes, sit your mother down on her couch, on her comfortable seat, surround her with family, fix her a plate, suffocate her with love. Then as the night goes on, turn some music on, get dancing. When I was growing up, I'd go to my grandma's house, and at 2 a.m, we'd be fucking merengueando. And, if you can't dance, do a fucking conga line or something with your family. I don't know how that works. But, the point is, stop being a fucking chump. Stop falling victim to materialism. Because in my opinion, Mother's Day doesn't mean shit. Any day can be Mother's Day. Any single day. I guarantee you that if you buy a gift and give it to your mother on a random Tuesday, it's going to light her up. It's going to have more effect and be more profound than any other day. So please, let's move forward. Let's grow the fuck up. Stop doing it to us. Dale, Adrian.
And with all that said,
What's
hi,
up,
Mom.
What's up, Mom? Dale.
Welcome to Fancy Bread. I'm Adrian.
I'm Ed.
And today we're joined by Maritza, a veteran in the industry and also a mother as well. Maritza, thank you for joining us.
Maritza is also my mother's name.
Yeah.
This was not planned. This is not like a scheme. My mother's name is Maritza.
We love you, Mamacita.
Yeah.
In honor of yesterday, or in honor of all of those who worked yesterday, we just want to do a little soft clap here because we don't want to break your ears, Because let me tell you, for those who don't know, Mother's Day is one of the top 3 most busiest days of the year. And that's not necessarily what makes it bad.
Thank you. Continue.
Not necessarily what makes
Describe.
it bad. What makes it bad is who goes out to dine in those days. Mm-hmm. Because dining out is a skill. Mm-hmm. Like everything in life, like playing baseball, basketball, or hitting on chicks, anything is a skill that you must work on constantly and perfect. Mm-hmm. And on Mother's Day, usually you get a lot of people that go out that are not necessarily skilled at dining out. And they bring out their unrealistic expectations, their bad attitudes, and of course, more importantly, my mom is the best mom, so they should have all the attention in the world. And no, my mom is the best mom. Thank you.
Some moms suck, man.
Some moms
suck.
So that's why it's typically a day that's very frowned upon. But let's just open this up and start this up. Yesterday was Mother's Day 2025. And did you work last night?
I didn't.
You didn't? Lucky you. You?
I did not dodge that bullet, sir. I worked.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
Have you worked Mother's Day before?
Oh, yeah.
And two questions. How was your experience working as in Mother's Day? And also, how do you feel as a mom working on Mother's Day?
I mean, working on Mother's Day as a mom, especially in the industry, obviously is not my favorite thing.
It's not what you want to be.
It's very depressing. It's so sad. I would rather be with either my mother or my son. But instead, I'm here dealing with all of these things that you guys have mentioned.
Yeah.
It's been a few years that I haven't worked Mother's Day. When I was working Mother's Day, I looked very young. So no one would ever think like, oh, is she a mom? I'm just a server serving a mom that should, with entitlement and all these things, right? So in my mind, I have to pretend like you're the best mom in the world at this table is all the things and all the things for you. Meanwhile, I'm not with my son, I'm not with my mom, and I have to just play this role. But they're not thinking about that at all, ever.
Of course not, because
Right?
everybody's thinking about themselves
Right.
and their mom and what they want.
Exactly.
Again, one of the typical issues that you have with the diners that go out to eat in this day.
Yeah,
Because they don't see more than themselves.
exactly.
It's a little selfish.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
I don't know if mom taught you that.
You know, one of the things I hate most about Mother's Day is the strollers in the restaurant. It's got a higher stroller count in a
Especially
restaurant.
lunch shifts. Because the babies, you can't take them out at night.
I don't work lunch shifts anymore.
I don't
Yes.
either, but I
Oh,
have
listen.
before, and those lunch shifts, brunch shifts.
Listen, you mentioned that at night, and you know we work in a very dark, loud, obnoxious, party-like vibe. I had parents with
Strollers still?
not just strollers
talking about
still.
the
I
age
had
of the
parents
kids.
with like newborn
Yeah,
kids.
like
I had this table very recently.
Right.
Check this out. Newborn child, and the how do you call that? I don't have a kid, so I don't.
The stroller, the
not
bassinet?
the basket that you put in the car and you just.
That you would
walk around with
detach
it.
from
You
the car
detach-
seat?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a fucking transformer.
the
So-
basket thing.
the basket.
The
thing. So
bassinet, I guess.
they bring in the basket thing, so it's like it's still in that very infant form.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "Oh, I want you to like do the biggest party, the biggest thing, the most loud. I want you to put that song, this, that, super like demanding." And you look at the kid and you're like, "Is that what you want for your kid? You want your child to have tinnitus since he's born? Is that what you want? Is that what you want
Right.
to give your kid?" But no, you know what the guy said to me? He's like, "I want my kid to know when he's older that his parents were cool."
Yeah. When we have to talk to him in sign language type shit. No, honestly.
So there's all kinds of people out there
It's
Oh,
a,
yeah.
it's a
that you
little
might say,
creepy.
yes, of course. A smarter person would say yes, lunch for sure. That's why Mother's Day brunch.
The worst. Nightmare.
To all of you who work that day,
Absolutely.
A
again,
nightmare. The worst thing ever.
Absolute worst.
Ever.
Jesus, the worst
Yeah.
absolutely thing ever.
Working brunch in general is
Yes.
is terrible.
Yeah.
Because it's like people don't understand. So if you work in a restaurant for dinner and you have two people, and we've talked about this before, Adrian and I are eating. The three of us are eating. Right? The three of us in total, main courses, there might be 1, 2, 3, maybe like 6 or 7 plates on the table. But if you're working brunch, servers know this. 2 people. Let's delete one person and just say 2 people. 2 people are gonna have 13 things on the table, right? Your toast. And I want my eggs cooked this way with this kind of toast. And I want this side. And I'd like decaf with soy milk and Splenda, and I'd like, you can see how this kind of has
And
a
a
trickle.
mimosa.
And a
And
mimosa.
water.
And
And-
water. And it's hot out. And the glasses are condensing everywhere. Fuck that. You know what hell looks like? A never-ending brunch service.
Yeah.
That's what purgatory is like in the mind of a server.
I heard through the grapevine that Casadona did about 500 to 600 guests on brunch in the lapse of 5 hours. And they're
That's
a
just-
buffet style brunch. just imagine what they had to go through. So again,
Oh
you
my
know,
God.
to those of you, God damn, kudos to you. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. Sometimes we truly have to educate our guests like moms would. Yesterday, I served these two moms, or mother and child, because sometimes you don't know.
Wait, was it?
Have you ever had one of
two
those
moms?
where it's mother and the child, and she's like, "I'm the mom," and you're like, "You're the mom?" You're like,
I mean, like she looks really young for her age. You mean?
yeah, and sometimes even better than the daughter. You like, I guess, picked up after the dad.
Well, that happens all the time.
That happens a lot.
But like, yeah,
Happens more often
your
than not.
dad fucked you.
And this table, which again, mother, daughter, or two mothers, one of them asked me, "Do you guys have pasta?" And at that night, we had a very beautiful smoked short rib risotto with chanterelle mushrooms, summer truffle shave on top. And she said, "What's risotto?"
Who said that?
One of the two ladies said, "What's risotto?"
Okay, they go out like
I took a deep breath and I said,
diners, huh?
"Yeah, that is." I said, "Pasta shaped like rice?" And she said, "Is it good?" I'm like, "I will veer away from it if you haven't tried it."
Right.
And make sure that you have something that you like.
That's when people ask me about dry aged meat. That's what I try to explain to them.
It's one of those things again. It's there you go. Have you had any instance, perhaps in Mother's Day or outside of Mother's Day, where I guess ask you a question when you say to yourself, "Did nobody ever like? Didn't you get the memo? Did you see that on TV?"
I feel that all the time, not just Mother's Day. Sometimes, actually, more often than not, I see kids educating the parents more.
Really?
Yeah. Or like, you know, especially in Miami, it's a very transient city. Like you get people from all over the place and they bring their cultural and societal things. And like you said, dining is a skill. And sometimes, you know, like it exudes in the dining experience. And then you can see that the kid is embarrassed off of the way
like,
that
"Mom."
they're talking to the server or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And now the son or the daughter will come and interfere and be like, "Mom, no, I got this."
It's kind of embarrassing, isn't it?
And I see this all the time.
It's kind of
It's
embarrassing.
cringy as a server.
Actually, I
You have
see
to
it
like
more
keep your poker
now.
face.
How much
Oh,
does
yeah.
it bother you? Because you reminded me, speaking about regional things, it annoys me greatly when people want to ask you for something that's like an extremely specific regional thing, and then they're upset when you don't have it. The last example I can think of is there's something called zip sauce. You ever heard of zip sauce? Exactly. Because you're not from the fucking place where zip sauce is from.
Right.
So people have come in and be like, "Yo, you guys have zip sauce?" And I'm like, the fuck is zip sauce? No. Oh, it's how do you guys? Oh, you guys don't have zip sauce? And then I'll look it up and I'll be like, "Oh, this is made by two people in a garage in Detroit." Like, how the fuck are we supposed to have zip sauce? Like, but that goes to show you, dining again is a skill. It
Right.
takes experience.
It's like do your homework a little bit, you know?
Well, do your homework, or sometimes you catch people unfortunate because if you have enough personality, it can overcome your lack of dining
Yeah.
experience.
100%.
Because if you're wholesome about it, you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you so much for teaching me that. I didn't know."
Yeah.
But that's not the issue we're talking. We're
Or
talking
could
about
you
people
please
who
explain?
we're
Can
talking
you
about
educate me on this?
assholes who
Yeah.
don't know what they're doing, who give you an attitude for trying to guide them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the issue. That just sounds like Miami in a nutshell.
Yeah. When I started going out to fine dining establishments, I would ask my server, you know, "I'm new to this. How exactly does it work? Can
Right.
you give me some information or ideas as to how properly I should go?" And that's okay. We're there to help you out. We're there to guide you and provide you with an experience. But it's a much different approach when you ask humbly for something than when you say, "Oh, I've been to Napa and all those stuffs."
Yeah.
And this guy the other day asked me, "Do you have a triple blend?" And I'm like, "You mean a blend? Is there?" And
You mean just
it's-
wine? Just
dude,
wine.
Yeah, and
Right.
the way that he asked it, I was like, "Is he asking for something that I don't know?"
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, I'm asking, "Is this guy asking me for like a menage a trois?" But I've said, "No, it can't be like that. It can't be like that." So I go to a coworker
Adrian
who's a
always-
som, and he's like, "This motherfucker, you asking for menage a trois?" And I'm like, "I think he did."
Why you always gotta get creepy?
Anyways, I go back to the service. I said, "Sir, like, what exactly did you mean by triple blend? Was that something in particular, or are you like, oh, you don't have prisoner?"
Yeah.
No, sir, I do not have prisoner. However, Oren Swift, who is the person behind the prisoner,
Dave Finney. Dave Finney, yeah.
Thank you. But Oren Swift, the brand, and sold the prisoner, made other two wines, which we do have available here for you to enjoy.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, no."
It's the execution.
So what are we talking about? What are we talking about here? You know, are you gonna be?
I've always said that I have a theory that sometimes when people step into a restaurant, something clicks in their brain and they may not even be aware of it, where they become a much worse version of themselves. Because I don't think people that act like a worst case scenario in a restaurant, I don't see that person surviving out in the world acting that way. So I feel like there's something about the whole sitting down and being served that makes people change their complete psyche. Like, you know, when somebody somebody gets drunk, you see a part of that person. You're like, oh, I still see them in that person. Right. This is just an augment of that. Yeah. But sometimes somebody will get drunk and they'll be like a fucking alien. You know what I mean? Like a completely different being, not even a human, from a different race. So sometimes when people come to eat, I feel like they are completely different. And sometimes, to be honest, I know this is true because sometimes I'll be sitting down and just because of the way things are going, I find myself being a less compassionate person. And you know how it is. You go out to eat as a server, as anyone in the industry who has struggled, had a bad night, you want to go out to eat and you want to be a good guest. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You want to perpetuate that kindness and that patience. But sometimes, even me, sometimes I'll sit down and I'll have a little less patience than normal. I'll be like, what the fuck is going on with this person? You see me, Adrian. Sometimes I'll sit down and be like, whatever. Adrian and I will sit down, we'll talk, we'll eat. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the server will do something and I'll be like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? So I guess that's what I mean. People can change. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we just see really, really bad parts of people.
But I think also it depends on what kind of restaurant, because I've served certain guests. Same guests in different restaurants, and they behave differently. Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. One, it was a little more liberal and a different type of crowd. Mm-hmm. They think they can act up and be a certain way. And then I served at a much more serious, respectable restaurant. Mm-hmm. They don't do that. So that's something that you can control. Like, I don't think that they're not aware of it. I think they're fully aware of it.
That makes it worse.
Yeah, because it's like, I remember seeing you.
That makes it worse. Like, I've heard horror stories of when I used to work in New York. So people would come to the restaurant I worked at, which was a Michelin star restaurant, and they would be super snotty and they would act super entitled. And we would have these rules that were created to make the dinner efficient and streamlined. And they would always ask for things that they were instructed couldn't happen. And then I had a coworker who was working at that same restaurant who was like, oh, I know this person, Mr. Jones. Yeah, he's a pain in the ass. But at a higher ranked restaurant, like a 2-star restaurant or a 3-star restaurant, I believe he worked at a Michael White restaurant called Maria. He was like, yeah, I know this guy. He comes in, and when he sits down at Maria or when he sits down at like these high-end restaurants, the guy's a fucking puppy. He'll just sit down and he'll just be there. He'll be like, oh, whatever you guys say. So yeah, people aren't stupid. No son pendejo, you know?
They're aware.
They know what's going on, especially in Miami, because Miami is a very small town. It's a very small town. I mean, how often have you seen somebody at the same restaurant? If you worked at a different kind of restaurant that kind of shares, like it's a linear competitor, you're going to see the same people over and over.
Definitely.
And for you guests out there, the reservation system nowadays are getting so connected with each other and tight that if you make a reservation through Resi, you have a Resi profile, or if the same with 7 rooms, etc. And as if you went to another restaurant and misbehave, and that goes into your profile, and you come to my restaurant and we print your cheat sheet and it says your name, your phone number, it tells us you're an asshole. So you might have misbehaved somewhere else, and we're gonna be like,
he's all right. He's not that bad. He's cool once you get to know him.
And in the future, I'm sure we're gonna I'm sure in the future we're gonna be able to blacklist guests here, and then no one else. You're fucked. So
yeah, there's all kinds of.
Why don't you start picking up some skills? Because otherwise, you might not have your preferred places to dine. Let's move into serving mom, because not only at Mother's Day, but at any other day, we always have mothers coming into a restaurant. As a mother, what are some of the things that you look for when dining out? Whenever you go out with your
guest?
Your baby. Yes, when you're a guest.
When I'm the guest, I mean, I don't think of it as like, oh, I'm a mom. I'm thinking of it more of industry. Like, I want to be a good guest, right? If I'm annoyed, if I've already spotted something, it's because it's extreme already. You've taken way too long to even come and greet. Like, my perspective is always in that way. And if I'm with my son, my focus is on him. I hope that he knows how to do this properly. I know how he can say thank you and be polite and, correct along the way. But when he's not, because there was a period where he was like in a little like learning process, I would really appreciate the server that had like patience, that was like, okay, like, because I'm not acting this way, but maybe he's acting this way. Like you, as a server, you scan everything. You have to read through between the lines. And so this server is like, oh, okay, like she's not this way, but he's in training, like.
You're Latino,
like
right?
that. Yeah.
Where from, if I may? Or was your
Honduran and Salvadoran.
Honduran, Salvadorian. I don't know if I'm in Honduran, Salvadorian, but I assume all Latinos. Whenever I would go out with mom to dine and I would misbehave, she wouldn't yell, she wouldn't scream. She would give me the Latino look. She would give me the.
Yeah. I definitely
When
have
we
that
get
with
home,
my son.
she give you that. She give you that. And if you overdid, she'd be the.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mother,
I definitely have
my
that.
mother only hit me once, bro. That's
Yeah?
all it ever took. Just one beating. That's it.
yeah.
Una pela. That's it.
Just,
After that,
She did it with passion.
oh,
a lot of fucking
now
passion.
Maritza, she did it with passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it's like you say, because it's you've got two different levels. You've got your level as a mother, where you're eating with your son, and you're trying to pass down this etiquette to him and guide him and be stern when you need to be. And I'm sure you let some things go because you're like, whatever, right? It is what it is. But this is a universal thing for people in the industry, where I don't know how long it's going to take to turn my brain off when I go out to eat. Because when I go out to eat, I work in a very high energy environment.
Yeah.
But I don't like eating in that environment.
Right.
So when I go out to eat, I'm sitting at a bar, chilling. But I can't turn my brain off.
Yeah, me either. I
Can't turn it off.
I have to see all the things.
I can't turn it off. I see everything. And obviously I'm like, okay, whatever. I see things that are happening at tables that aren't mine.
Right.
I could be sitting at the bar, and if I have a vantage
Also, the
view,
vibe of the room, the way that the
100%.
people are getting along. Like, do you like
100%.
working here? Like, what do you like when you're not at the table with the smile and the
Right.
personality at the table? What do you like when you're at the computer? You know, like, what's your face like? How are you interacting with your coworkers?
Right.
I'm watching all of that.
there's nothing I don't see. Nothing. I've been sitting at a bar one time and looking at like employees, scanning them. I'm like, oh yeah. Oh, those two are fucking for sure. And over here, that manager, oh, he's not going to be here very long. Like you see everything. I don't know how long it's going to take for me to shut that part of my brain off. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine with the added dynamic of having a child with you and you want to teach them and do those things.
It does help me being a mom to serve moms
Of course.
with kids.
You got the inside track.
Because I'm like, and I try to make them feel comfortable because I know that they're feeling uncomfortable if they're like toddlers or something.
Who, the parent?
Yeah.
Okay.
The mom usually.
Okay.
Is there something that you do to make sure that
100%.
mom
For
is
one,
taken care of?
the baby, the kid is probably going to be hungry at this point. Get him fed, get him something to entertain with. He needs to go first and then everything else. Because once he's
Kids always
okay,
go first.
then it'll give room for the mom and like everyone else to do what they have to do, you know. But if they're all over the place and you're trying to get an order from the parents and they're like, I'm so sorry, I haven't looked at the menu. Yeah, because you're taking care of your kid that's like jumping off the walls, you know, like, or that's like crying because they're hungry or whatever the case may be. If the kid is fine, then it'll give you that room for like everything else to flow the way we need it to as a server.
This is something that I do, and I ask you since you're both a mom and a server. But whenever I have, let's say, a family, mom, dad, and baby, I would go to the table, welcome them everybody, hello, everyone. As I do that, I'm kind of like firm on the gentleman, you know, welcome them in, glad to have you, miss, etc. And then I turn to the mother immediately and I say, miss, for the kid, I have A, B, C, D. Let me know what works for you. I can get that going immediately. Yeah. And I don't even go to the father. I go to the mom. It's like,
she's
this
the
is
one
my
that
baby.
knows, really.
Exactly. And the mom knows baby. This is my baby. No, don't bring them fries. Bring him like this. Bring him some
Correct.
extra ketchup. Bring him that. And I'm going to go ahead and get that in. And I'll be right back and I'll put your cocktails. Like I try to do that
100%.
immediately for you to know, he knows my baby's going to be fine. And as soon as the baby's fine, then everybody else is going to be fine.
Exactly.
Right? So
I agree with all
for the
that.
parents,
I agree with
food
all
for
that.
the kids.
Get the mother a drink as soon as possible. Get the kids some fries or some kid appropriate food.
All good.
and dip him in some alcohol as soon as possible.
However, what I don't like is when you get like an attitude from the parent. I understand.
Oh, yeah.
Highly stressed. You know, the mother, the dad. You guys are highly stressed. You might be experiencing a little bit of secondhand embarrassment because you're like, shit, how do we look right now with our rowdy kid? You know, some kids are worse than others.
Oh yeah.
The unicorn situation is where you have the well-behaved kid.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most refreshing things ever. Because when I see a family and I see a kid, I go, fuck. I do not like it.
I don't mind like the parents that are stressed with that, like because they're stressed because they're aware of the misbehavior.
Right.
I mind the ones that are not stressed about it and their kids are all over.
And their kids are fucking like Mowgli,
right.
Jungle Book, fucking shoeless, shirtless, painting on the walls,
doing all the things, running around like it's an obstacle course, you know. And the mom is just there, kind of like, nothing's happening.
I think that's worst case scenario.
That's the worst.
That's worst case scenario. Yeah. A little bit below that is when you have parents who are giving you an attitude. So I'm like, what the fuck's your problem? Like, you're here, you're wasting my time. You got a kid. That's for me one less seat at the table. One less seat.
And
the only good thing
around you too.
The only good thing, possibly good thing about parents coming in with kids is they tend to leave faster. They tend to leave faster. But the same way, it makes no sense to me. No sense. This happens a lot with like European families where it'll be like 11:30 and the kids will be sleeping in the banquette.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? Go home.
Yeah.
Go home.
With music blasting
or,
and decibels that are
or
dangerous.
the kid will be sleeping and they'll be drinking and the music is fucking.
That's wild.
Yeah,
I never really went out when my son was younger.
Yeah.
Because you have a brain.
Thank you. Because you're nice. Listen,
you have a brain.
even yesterday or Mother's Day, they had this couple who, mother and husband, clearly their kids were like, empty nesters, right? And they were having a good time. Everything started great. Everything was vibing. But close to them was a table with a newborn.
Oh, fuck.
The energy of the father completely changed to the point where the wife was apologizing. I'm so sorry. I'm like, oh, it's all good. I don't see any problem. He even tipped. Well, he tipped me $175 extra. And I was like, good. But the guy was clearly so upset about just being sat next to a kid.
Yeah.
And like, I thought,
right.
Even
when
you having a kid and knowing and passing through that, you still don't like other people.
They're past that phase.
And
Past that phase, man. That's one of the coolest tables. One of the coolest tables are those empty nesters. And you get it all the time. One of them will be like, yeah, our kids, we don't got our kids for the weekend. Let's do a double shot. Yeah. Bring another double.
Yeah, kids are out.
Our kids are gone. We're away from our kids. I had a lady said, listen, we had to fucking escape from our kids for 3 days. Obviously, they had some money because that's not possible for everybody. Yeah, we had to get the fuck away from our kids. We're in Miami for 3 days. We landed 2 hours ago, and I don't know why you haven't brought us a drink yet. Get it going.
Right, double.
Those are cool people.
Yeah,
I like those are cool people.
Those are always
or even like when it's not like 3 days and it's like just a few hours that they're going out. And they're like, it's the first time that we're going out.
Yeah.
We need to be home like at a certain time. Right. Like if we can get it quick. They're aware. They're so conscious about it.
Right.
It's amazing.
But sometimes there's parents who even fucking hate their kids. And that happens often too.
I think that happens more often than you think it does.
The parents that hate their kids are the ones that you're talking about that are having attitude.
Listen, the other day I had a 15 top of a birthday for a 15-year-old, so 15, get it? And then the mom with her friends sitting at the other table. You can't make this shit up. Mom's name? Karen.
Of course.
And she was just talking smack about her daughter all the time. Oh, yeah, my daughter's the one that's going to come out. Her ass is showing out. And I don't know about these 15-year-olds. They're all terrible. And you're like, no,
yeah.
That's your baby. That's your baby.
Well, it's different now because, like nowadays, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, a 15-year-old was 15. Now a 15-year-old is like an 18-year-old from back in the day.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
I like some of these girls are a little wild. I'm like, what are you doing here? Take it easy. Tú eres una niña. Relax.
Yeah.
Right?
And ask for drinks, and I'm like, you mean a mocktail, right? And it's, I'm not even going to ask you for ID.
What I want to know, if you don't have any questions for this topic anymore.
Yes.
To switch it a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you feel? And this might be rare.
Go for it.
Have you ever been served by a pregnant woman who is showing?
I actually ironically haven't.
That's not ironic. It's rare.
Yeah. I haven't.
It's a lot more rare than you think.
Though.
You were.
I was showing.
You were.
But it was great for me.
We got to talk about that.
Go ahead.
Yeah. It was,
Talk to about some of the pros and cons of that.
Well, yeah. So at that time, everyone was so nice to me because they're like, oh my God, what a blessing. tipping me extra. I made so much money when I was showing. But the cons are I was still doubling. My feet when I would get home were insane. Even off of a single shift, you know, you're getting tired. You're like, imagine going in between tables and you got to bump. Like you're not working with the same efficiency that you're used to, you know, and it's still required from you to deliver the same way that, you know, they don't care. I mean, not that they don't care, but they don't really like, you have to show up. Right. So you're showing up as best you can, which is not your best.
Right.
And even then you go home and you're exhausted, but with more tips.
I'm making some money.
Yeah.
That's a tricky situation for restaurants though, because obviously restaurants can't discriminate against a pregnant employee, but it's just like you said, just like you implied. It's like you still have to show up.
Yeah.
You still got to work.
Yeah.
You still got to work. And if your performance slips, that's difficult for a restaurant because they're like, fuck.
Luckily, I've always had like coworkers that have been like, oh, you know, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to be conscious with this and conscious without, even with scheduling, you know, like
I was going to go into that.
I've lucky for me, honestly, I'm sure this is not the case for everybody, but I've been in restaurants where like, they've really worked with my schedule.
Right.
They've all been different restaurants, but like in all phases of my son growing up, which he just turned 16, I've been very lucky with that because sometimes I've had to be like, you know, work daytime, which to me was terrible.
The absolute worst.
Less money, you know, but I have to do it, switch over to nighttime. Now I'm making more money, but he's getting less of me. It's really, you have to weigh out things.
It's difficult to balance being at work and being a mom. Especially if if there's people that you have that can help you out or not. Because the people that have it, they can pay for someone to take care of their kids so they can go to Miami for 3 days. That's awesome. Not everybody has that. You know, some people, don't have their partners. Some people, some people's parents don't live in the same country. So it's difficult when you don't have that network to provide you support. But at least, your coworkers helped you out. Did perhaps you in particular, if you don't mind sharing, had some sort of a network that maybe when you were working, someone would take care of your kid? How did that work?
Yes,
maybe
I did.
in those
when I was home, I grew up in New Jersey. My parents were there. And so when I was working there, I have my support system, obviously home is home. Like
solid.
My parents were taking care of my son and I was able to work the shifts that were making money, but even then, not so much because she would be like, my mom would be like, you gotta be home. You can't be just making money, and I'm like, okay, but I'm the only person, like I have to make money, I have to, it's just, there's so many things, so many factors that go into deciding, okay, should I take the lunch shift or dinner shift? How many of this or how many of that? And then even at work, definitely people that, like I said, have worked with my schedule with management or people that have like worked for me. If my son is sick or randomly something happens, like, first of all, something always happens. Yeah. Like when you have a child, it doesn't matter what age, it's just a different thing that happens. Something is always happening. Right. And even as now that my son is older and he's a little more independent, I can
too cool for school.
He's too cool for school, but he's a teenager. Yeah. So it's a very difficult kind of phase. And I can show up to work and, everything will be all good. And I can be like, like shooting the shit with everybody. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I just had this awful fight with my son last night. Man. XYZ is going on at home. Yeah. Wow. It's like you wouldn't have any idea about that, right? Like, so then it's different things each time.
Does your, if I may, this might be a little personal. How does your son feel about what you do? Does he think it's cool?
I think that he thinks it's cool receiving love whenever we go to places.
Okay.
Like when they show love and, oh yeah, we're going to go here, but everyone knows my mom and they're probably going to send gifts. And they're probably going to send
of course.
She loves it.
Who don't love that?
Okay, yeah.
She loves
it. Of course.
Yeah.
You're going to like
you
that.
You don't say shut up. You go, shut up.
Have you, there's a little one. Have you ever used your son as an excuse to get out of work or not work a certain shifts?
Falsified.
Not falsified.
Falsified.
Not falsified.
Because if it's legitimate, that's just you taking care of business.
I couldn't afford to.
Right.
I'm a one-man show.
Right.
So I couldn't afford to even think that way. I always have to calculate everything as close as possible for it to work out to my best favor, you know, like, so.
How do you go about celebrating? Because if you know anyone in industry, is holidays don't exist for us. I don't remember the last time, like I had a Christmas or New Year's. It's
Holidays
It don't
or
exist.
holidays or end times.
yeah.
You never know what time you're getting out,
Yeah.
and
Nope.
you usually don't have holidays.
They do not exist. So how do you go about in celebrating those big moments that you want to spend with your son, right? Because obviously you want to spend a Christmas with your son, you
Right.
want to spend New Year's with your son. Obviously you want to create these memories with his
Yeah.
family members so that this person carries this on and values them whenever they go out and enjoy it themselves.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
When my son was younger, I think is when I had to was really caught up in these schedulings where I had to like work holidays and
You were
work.
overly aggressive with your managers. Yo, I need that day, and I.
No, I had to work them. You know, I had to
okay.
work them usually. Now I have been fortunate enough to have like a really solid schedule where I don't have to really sacrifice those things. But it was a really good chunk of maybe 15 years, 12 years, you know, where I did have to do that, you know, like, or it's his birthday and I'm like, okay, I have to plan accordingly. So we'll celebrate on this day. How am I going to explain it to him so that you know that it is important to me, but this is also important. I have to work so that I can make this special for you or, you know, XYZ. It just, you have to work around it. Like it's,
Of course.
It almost sounds like you're always in the weeds, bro.
Yeah.
it does. It is. You're
is.
always in the weeds. I mean, honestly, like
That's what it sounds like to me.
being a parent, like I was actually just thinking about this the other day and I'm like, okay, when I first started my most recent employment, right? Like where I'm at now, it was so challenging for me in the beginning. And I remember thinking in the beginning, I can't wait till I get to the point where I just do things automatically. I'm like, in 1 year from now, I'm not even going to be thinking about anything. I'm just going to be doing, right? As a parent, that never happens.
Right.
You never get to that point where you're like, oh, I can't wait till I get to this point because then it doesn't exist.
Right.
And I realized that after 16 years, it will never exist.
Right.
That's never going to come that point, right? So out
always
of
in the
all the
weeds.
jobs, I'm always in the weeds here. Like
Right.
there's moments where like the universe gives you a little wink, right? Where I'm like, oh, and then that's it. Keep moving,
Right.
move forward.
Well, until he moves out, maybe.
Not even, because then I'm like, okay, well, what is he doing?
know,
What's
you gotta let
going
him- you
on
gotta let him
here?
live. Let him
Need
live.
something.
Let him-
At some
Let
point,
him
Anything,
live.
you know, like,
in Puerto
Let
Rico,
him
I mean,
live.
yeah, it
at
changes,
some
you
point
know.
you gotta cut the umbilical cord,
Let him
mama.
live.
Sure,
You
for
gotta cut it,
sure.
mama. I would like to throw out there to everyone who's struggling with that. I will suggest celebrate before. If Mother's Day is that Sunday before, celebrate, or a Tuesday or Wednesday, just tell mom, hey mom, get ready, get dressed if you want to take her out, or just go and spend time with her and say, oh, I just want to spend time with you today because on Sunday I'm going to be working, and she's going to understand that, and she'll appreciate you being there. Always before, never after, because then it's an afterthought. It's like a secondhand
Yeah.
compliment. Don't do that to your people you love. Do it before. It shows them you care.
I agree.
There you go.
I mean, that goes to show it's the same principle I said about Mother's Day being any day. As long as you're sharing time with people you care about, that's really all that matters. That's really all that matters.
I know we're taking it back, but how did you deal with maternity leave? Was that because that's something
There was
that,
no maternity.
There
I
was no
just
maternity leave.
left, and then I had to figure it out. And that's that.
that's the cruel reality of the restaurant industry. Not much nowadays because everything is so,
Well, wait, hold on.
but still it's the time where at times when that comes, you just gotta leave.
the way the policy works is after a company gets a certain size, a certain amount of employees, then they can offer maternity leave. But in certain instances, all maternity leave means is that you have your job security, not that it's paid. So that's the only thing that at the base level, maternity leave means, and paternity leave as well. Because now if you adopt a kid or you have a kid, you're eligible for whatever leave, right, pertains to you. But that doesn't mean you're going to get paid. Having that leave and getting paid is like, right, it's like the Messiah. But
Amazing. It would make so much of a difference,
Right.
because you're not thinking about that. I mean, it's already stressful, the whole process of
can imagine.
when you have the
Well,
child.
I can't
and you're like,
imagine.
You know, all these changes and everything, and then on top of that, you're like, you know, all these expenses. It's a very expensive
Really,
experience.
it is.
Yeah.
I've heard people say that it's not as expensive as I think it would be.
No, it is.
Yeah.
Well,
Did you
it is.
ever
It is
use an
expensive.
excuse
It is
of your
expensive.
kid to get out of work early because I have this coworker who does it all the time. He's like, "Oh, my wife is at the bar and she's waiting for me to leave, and it's okay for me to leave early." Son of a bitch.
He always goes.
He always goes. He always goes. Do you ever try to do that?
You ever use it to your advantage?
I don't
You ever
think so.
just,
I really don't.
It's okay.
Never.
It's all right.
All right. You know what?
Have you ever had a pregnant server?
Yes, I have. I have a pregnant server, and honestly, I think I would tip her more. Yeah, for sure. You see that? You see the struggle. You see what she's going through. You say to yourself, "Damn, you're going through all that, and you're here serving me." Yeah, of course, I'm gonna tip her more.
Yeah.
You see, that's maybe
Female guests tip more.
that's maybe
Female guests
Yeah.
tip more when
Yeah.
so
When
we
you're- when
we
you're
finally cracked it. So you're telling me that when I serve a female guest, all we have to do is put us a fake belly and then go to the table and be like, "Yeah, men can have babies too," you know.
Yeah, be a little
I can
bit-
give all that bullshit.
Yeah, like what is that? Twins. You don't know what that is. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito, whatever.
Oh yeah. I did. I just saw
No,
that
no.
movie.
Is that twins?
Yeah.
That's twins,
Was
right?
it?
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was
Weird.
pregnant at the end of the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
It's really weird.
I will never forget that scene.
So I had a pregnant server, and I love all this chit chat, guys. I think it's really cute, but she was really bad. So I didn't care. I didn't tip her well
Of course.
because I don't care. Like it's a great equalizer. Like I tip you well based on how good of a server you are.
Correct.
She was bad. Not for me. Not for me. I didn't tip her well, and you know me, Adrian.
Oh.
I didn't tip her well. She was really, really bad. Really, really bad. You want to know something?
Because it's
like
what credit is due.
the whole team
I
was
mean-
bad. The whole team was bad. Because if I have a late pregnant coworker, and mind you, it's not black and white. She's got to be cool. If I like her, she's cool. It's just like you said. You have coworkers who pick up the slack for you. If I see I have a pregnant coworker who's waiting on a table, and you know how if you're a good server, your radar is always up. I'm like, yo, she hasn't been to that table in a while. Let me go over there. Let me pick up the slack. I'll do that. No, her coworkers abandoned her, and I don't know what the fuck she was doing, but she was.
But
very
then
bad.
it was her and them, right? It's everybody.
Everybody was
Not
bad,
even
but
so
it was
much
her responsibility though.
Yeah.
She was my server.
And what was it that was so terrible?
Well, first of all, the really bad thing, I would have been a little bit more forgiving if she was like distant, because I would say to myself, okay, maybe she's away because she's dealing with stuff. No problem. But no, she was just a bad server. Didn't spiel well, didn't sell well. She was an order taker. And I'm like, this isn't because you're pregnant. This is because you suck. You know? So that's different there.
Yeah.
So, no.
Hey,
For me,
at
I don't
times
care.
We both have to learn. Yeah.
For me, it doesn't matter. For me, I tip service. I don't tip,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't tip
when
body.
I mean like pick up my slack when I was pregnant, it was like doing like physical things. I would get like tired
Right.
and things, but not like in
Right.
service itself.
Right. People tipped you more because you're a good server.
Yeah.
And they said, hey, you know what? Let me throw her a little extra.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. But you can't get the extra without earning the foundation of
Yeah,
the tip.
for sure.
This girl didn't earn anything. So, pregnant or not, doesn't matter.
It goes to show that this is one phrase that is common among a lot of people to say, "Oh, that wouldn't happen to me if that were me." You know, like I imagine some people are listening or watching this and say, "Oh, when I go to a restaurant, my kid's not running around the restaurant and me running after him. My kid's not jumping, and if I had a kid, my kid wouldn't be doing that."
You never know.
You never know, and you,
never
have no idea, because it's common, and I mean it's something that a lot of people have come out and say it nowadays. It's very common for you as a parent to not like your kids.
To not like your kids?
To not like your kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's hey, listen, Karen, let me know very clear how she felt about her daughter. You know, she still have a good time, so I made it possible.
Well, a lot more people are living together and not having kids. That has a lot to do with finances.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. But I guarantee you a lot of it has to do with the fact that kids can be a pain in the ass.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but that's different. That's being like more proactive, not like Karen that has a 15-year-old and
It
is
was
like
too late,
she
though.
hates
It
her.
was too
you know what
late.
I mean?
It was too late for Karen.
It's
It was
different. It's
it was
like,
too
you
late. It
know,
was too
like
late
if
for
you don't
Karen.
see yourself having the patience and doing all these things because you're like, it's too much work and I
And
just want to
clearly
be
she had the money.
selfish. And that's not for me. All respect, you know, like you're avoiding the wreck before it happens, but
That's what you say. If the glove don't fit, you must have quit. Yeah? Do you know of a lot of mothers who work in the restaurant industry, or at least in fine dining caliber restaurants?
Not a lot. Not
Right.
many.
Usually, there's not a lot.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
It's fathers, forget about it.
Yeah.
We have a line of who we're gonna bring for Father's Day, for Father's Day, but mothers, damn,
It's not a lot.
and hey, that's good. Hopefully you're home taking care of your babies, throwing chancletas around, do your thing, girl.
What is your restaurant count? How many restaurants have you worked at? Don't be shy. Don't worry about it. Trust me. There's some big numbers over here on this side of the table.
Oh yeah, there's big numbers over here.
She's not going fast enough. She doesn't have.
Yeah.
She
I don't
doesn't have
know.
a lot. She doesn't.
Well, that's
have a
good.
lot.
That means
I don't know. No, I stay at places. Like
Yeah.
when I go to places, it's to stay.
You've been in the industry for 17, 18 years.
For like 18 years.
Let's go, baby.
Damn,
So most of the restaurants you've been,
So
you've been like for 4 or 5
right now
years.
that I'm like, I have the schedule that I want, I have these that I don't have to work that, I'm like, yeah, I deserve that. Like I put in my work.
I'll be here for a while.
Yeah. So
Do you think that the schedule that you have, how much would you say that you have it because of your skills, and how much would you say that you have it because you're a parent?
equally.
Okay.
Yeah.
50-50.
50-50. I mean, I pretty much started off, actually, this was the first time that I had weekends off when I began. I was like, I didn't even know what to do on a Saturday.
I don't know what to do on a Saturday.
What do you do on a Saturday
was
night?
like,
I hate Saturdays off. Ugh.
Do you go out to eat on a Saturday?
No. Hell no.
Yeah, it's the most obnoxious people being out.
No.
And I'm like, okay, like all my friends are working. So, but then that changed. And then I moved my schedule. But initially, that schedule was implemented because my manager was being considerate of the fact that, because my son.
You got the skills. Your mom will take care of you. You also have
So now I
you also
have time.
seniority, which is a real
Right.
fucking
The seniority is probably like being like, okay, I'm going to have this, this, and this. And then, if I'm an asset to the company, which I believe I am, they're like, okay,
So you
we'll see
gotta
what
build
we
that
can do,
momentum.
but yeah, we'll get it for you.
That got me thinking, man. The whole industry Saturday off thing. I think, honestly, if I'm off on a Saturday or a Friday, I don't know what the fuck to do.
I hate it.
Don't know what to do.
No.
Because the industry has a schedule that makes it so that the majority of your friends are also going to be industry people. So it's hard to explain to a civilian, Sunday, 3 a.m. Yo, come to 11. What's up? They're like, what the fuck are you talking about? I work and I got to go to work in 6 hours. No way. But industry people understand it.
You're being generous because Sunday at 11, it's more like 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm trying to be considerate. I'm trying to be conservative.
Because when you tell someone, hey, you want
Try to be
to...
conservative.
When someone
3
tells
a.m.
you, oh, you're going, I'm going to space tonight. They're going to have X performer, yada, yada, yada. What time you going? You going after this?
4:30.
No, 5 a.m. I'm going to go home. I'm going to shower,
Yeah.
maybe take a nap,
Yeah.
walk around, walk the dog, whatever, pregame.
Yeah.
And I'll see you at sunrise, baby.
Right.
I'll see you
People,
over there.
yeah. There's a lot of late towns. Miami's a really late town.
Miami's super late.
Like I love when I'm waiting on people who are like from the middle of like middle America, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're in Miami. We're here for the weekend." I go, "Okay, what's the plan, guys?" We don't know. After this, we're gonna go to 11. We heard it's fun, and it's like 9:30.
You're like, what?
I literally saw a TikTok of this. I don't know if you guys seen it, where it was like a couple from Dallas, and the girl was like, "What's going on? What do we have to do?" Because we signed up for like some show, and the headliner, it said was going to be at 11, but it now like they're not going to show up until like 8 a.m. at Space or whatever. And all the comments were like, "Is this your first time in Miami?
Right.
That's
First time?
normal in Space.
Completely.
Space opens at 11. No headliner's going to come in at like 11." Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
And they were just genuinely thought it was starting at 11, and they were like, "What am I supposed to do? Like, do we just
People
stay up?
don't know.
Do we go home, take a nap?
Well,
go back
People
out?"
don't know. They don't know.
Miami is special.
It's super
What's
late.
the name of that actor who's a very good friend with the Rogan?
With Joe Rogan?
No, not Joe Rogan. The Seth Rogen. What's his very
Seth
good friend?
Rogen.
He has a very good friend who made a movie with him. Anyway, the
What
point
movie?
is,
What movie was he in? No. I want to know
point-
this. What movie was he in? Let's get to the bottom
dictator.
of this.
The Dictator. Where they go to Korea and talk to...
You're talking about Sacha Baron Cohen?
No. Oh, sorry, man. Fuck, no. No.
I gave you the right actor, but you gave me the wrong actor.
I gave you the wrong movie. I gave you the wrong movie. It's they go to interview Kim Jong Un.
You're talking about James Franco.
James Franco. I love James Franco. The meme where he's like looking to the left, about to be hanged. He's like, first time.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
haven't seen it.
No, that's the thing. Like, I always find that interesting.
Man, that
I
joke
think it's
took
really
forever. I'm sorry.
funny. No, I should apologize to me. I had to dig deep into the archives. Fine.
I thought you loved
You
these
made it
things.
happen.
You're like, oh, I love these. When Adrian doesn't find a word, it's like, give it to me. I'm gonna give you that word.
Right.
Well, that's how it is. And yeah, welcome to Miami, my friend. The land where
It's a really fucking late town.
it's a really late town and
Really
things
late
are
town.
weird. You know,
Really late.
yesterday we had a moment where there was, and it was early at least, and there was this beautiful tiny little child just running around the restaurant, just walking around. And honestly, at any point, everybody would look at you and be like,
But
the one thing that made
tell him.
the one thing that made a difference is that, you know, we don't mind you walking around the restaurant after your child, as long as you look like that.
Yo, Maritza.
And then let me tell you, if you're telling
Maritza.
yourself, oh yeah, I probably have it,
Maritza. Esta era una diabla. Esta era una.
I don't have it like that. So
Esta era una diabla.
Sure.
Oh,
You're
she-
so cute running around the restaurant.
you're like, look
How
at that
old
thing.
is she?
What an
I'd be like,
angel.
I'd be like, run over that way, run over that way.
Yo, she was.
Come here.
Listen, are we just talking about objective?
welcome to Miami.
We're talking about objective beauty.
That's Miami.
Objective beauty. Miami is the 45-year-old mom in the white bodysuit running around the restaurant, chasing her daughter and making everyone's jaws drop. Like she was very attractive. Very attractive. And everyone was nobody had any issues. Nobody had any
Look
issues.
at that.
Her little
coincidence.
feral daughter was running around. Everyone was like, "Ay, qué linda. Oh my God."
But at least both mom and the daughter did so with grace.
Yeah.
She never yelled. She never was like, hey.
But if she
No,
did,
she was always like, she
if
was walking like this.
Oh.
And mom, she was walking like,
If she did, it wouldn't matter though. If she did, it
knew what
wouldn't
she
matter.
was doing.
But that goes to show you, like, if you're gonna come in with your kids and they're gonna be disruptive, either tip really, really well,
Or have some grace.
or no, I mean, I guess
More than grace.
have a little something else. Have a little something
have the
else.
grace to go with it.
How did that
Have a little something else. But the late Miami nights brings to question, how do you deal with the stress of like that separation anxiety of being away from your son? Like, say it's a late night. Do you ever suffer from that? You're like, shit, I want to get home and be with my kid.
In the beginning,
It's
when
like
he
2,
was
3
younger.
a.m. You're about to get out.
Right.
And,
When he
you know,
was
your
younger,
baby's
definitely.
sleeping.
But now he's a little older, and now I feel like he's
You're like, whatever.
he's calculating the time when I'm coming home, when I'm not coming home. Should I have people over?
Yeah.
Should I not? He's like in that phase, you know.
he's
But
calculating
when he
when you're
was
coming
like
home, yeah.
younger, he was like anticipating my arrival, like you know.
Listen,
Then yes,
as a male who has a brother and was young ones, just knock on the door before you.
I was about to say.
Just knock on the
I
door
was
before
about
you
to
go
say,
in. Before you go in,
let's
say,
be honest,
if
Mom.
you come home late and you wanna come and kiss your baby goodnight and say, hey, mommy's
Let's be
home.
honest,
She
Mom.
went up. Just
Let's be
make sure you
honest.
knock on the door.
You're raising a young man.
I know. Trust.
You're raising a young man. Before he was looking forward for you to come home. Now he's like, when's she coming home? Because I have to
Right.
clear my internet
Yeah,
browser. You know he's good.
Do you have anything that you would like to tell mothers out there who are in the restaurant industry or about to jump into the restaurant industry who also want to have a kid or maybe have their kids? Anything that you want to throw their way?
I mean, they're different, right? If you're in the restaurant industry and then you're thinking about having a family,
Be raw. Be honest.
I mean, just know what you're signing up for. You know, like I think that the biggest thing is to look at things realistically, in any sense, right? Because you can sit here and have this like idea and dream of how it is that you're gonna raise your son or daughter. Especially if you're used to night shift, you're used to that money shift, you're used to none of those are compatible with motherhood, right? Like none of those, especially in the beginning, where you're like sleep deprived. And so that's something that you definitely have to really look at realistically, right? Before you get into that, what it's really going to look like.
Right.
If you don't end up finding like another job that
It's more
pay you as
accommodating.
much,
It's more
that is more
accommodating.
accommodating
Yeah.
for that schedule, you know, like you're probably going to get trapped right back into the restaurant industry, you know, and now you're working lunch shifts. Now you're not used to making that same amount of money. Now it's just really
Right.
look it over.
It's a big.
I think, and I can say this, you know, this episode is very particular because we're delving into a subject that we can research, but we have no personal like experience with. So we appreciate your insight, right?
Thank you.
But on the flip side, I would say this objectively, I think a lot of mothers are in a situation where, yes, I think you're making a lot of sense. And I think your logic is completely sound. But what do you do when you are expecting to have a kid as a server? I think that's the more general question because you're being very logical. But
Save
listen,
money,
it's hard
for
to be
sure.
logical, you know, after you've had a long shift and you're 3 martinis in and you're not thinking about a lot of logic. It's hot. Them summer nights are caliente for a reason. You know what I mean? So the point is,
Right. I mean,
what happens if you're expecting
okay,
and
if
you're
you're
a server?
expecting, the biggest thing is stack up.
Right.
Stack up.
Right.
Stack up so that you have room to see what's going on and, you know, maybe work things in your favor as long as make all the money that you can.
Because it's just like you said.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I don't have kids, but I think after being around a lot of kids, and obviously at this point of our lives, a lot of our friends have kids, I feel like the biggest takeaway from parenthood is about constantly adjusting.
Definitely.
Constantly adapting to the situation. So I think if a woman is in a situation where she's unexpectedly pregnant and she, you know, is in the industry, it's just like you say, you have to adapt to the situation. All right, I have X amount of months to stack up as much bread as I can, and it's exponential at the end of it. Because like you said, when you're showing, you're going to make a little bit more money. But yeah, I think that's like the takeaway. You mean, you know, your life is your life.
Yeah.
Sometimes things happen.
Yeah.
Like I said, them summer
More
nights.
often than
Sometimes them summer nights, you know, you got a little reggaeton playing. Stack up bread.
Right.
Stack up. Be
Stack
smart
up.
with your money.
Yeah.
But see, that's a lesson for anybody.
Yeah.
For anybody.
For sure.
I think that would apply both to the person that's in to the person that's about to go in.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
You know what you're going into and
Yeah.
stack up, baby.
Stack up. How many times, like as a young server, one of the hardest lessons you have to learn is like the hyper seasonality of Miami makes it so that if you didn't like stack up your bread during season, in the off season, things are going to get real tight. And much more so if you're expecting to have a kid. You've really got to I can't imagine. It's like you said, if it's as expensive as you say it is.
It is. And even that, like now I'm thinking like,
Get it.
oh my
Yeah,
God,
get
when
it.
I was-
Go. Let it cook.
When I was like in restaurant back home, oh my God, like the slow season, you know, it was just, I would have to think, okay, what am I gonna do for slow season? You have to think of a certain lifestyle and certain things, like you have to cut back and
To me, I always like
consider
to
about for sure.
live below my needs. So whenever off season comes, I don't feel it.
Yeah.
So if both you, if you get used to it and you get your family used to it, then when slow season comes, to me, it's vacation time. It's like, Poppy, when vacation time comes, it means that we're going to spend a lot more time together and our life's still going to remain the same.
Right.
But when you're making that bread, you're spending that bread,
yeah.
at the end of it, you're going to have no any dough.
That's what you say,
Yeah.
bread.
You're not going to have any dough at the end of the day.
Bread.
As you heard, dining out and serving guests requires skills that take practice and dedication. Just like moms guide us with their wisdoms, us servers educate our guests with our experience. It's not just about showing up to dinner or brunch. It's about honing your skills with patience, understanding, and proper dining etiquette so you can honor those who raised you, especially mom. Thank you for listening.
Take care, everybody. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe.